get it.
My guy.
Yeah, man. Big mics, big new mics.
New mics.
Let's get it.
New episode, Execution Szn, episode 5.
Let's go.
Bro, we got a few things to talk about.
Okay.
First thing is, first I want to see how you're doing, but then we'll bring in a guest. And, we're just going to keep the conversation flowing, man.
Absolutely.
How you been, though?
Been nonstop since Wednesday. Yeah. I did the Cocktails podcast live at Caroline's on Broadway. Shout outs to Kiki. Shout outs to the podcast. I actually went to school where I went to Howard with her. And, we didn't know each other that well. It was more of a high and by type of thing. Mm-hmm. But she reached out to me through a mutual friend, Carrie, because they needed a DJ for that live show. So the Cocktails podcast is like, it's a podcast geared towards women who are kind of being free with their sexual escapades and things of that nature, to say the least. And it was really inspiring to see somebody that I went to school with command such a presence from the audience. I mean, this is a sold out show in New York, and she's from the South. Their podcast is based in Atlanta, but they're able to fill up a couple hundred people in New York. We had people coming from Toronto, we had people coming from Connecticut, and they were really, happy to see her, so she's like a figure of celebration to them, and it was inspiring to see, how people reacted and gravitated towards her. They did the meet and greet afterwards, people taking pictures and photos, and it just provided a lot of clarity about how you could take yourself from one place and put yourself in a whole other position. I was inspiring. Then we took it to Bob Bar for the after party. Shout out to my man Von Brown. We put that together, and I got that vlog coming real soon. I'm really behind on editing, man, so I'm gonna get that vlog out soon, and that was good. So that was Wednesday, and then Thursday and Friday, of course, we're at the Factory 380. That's we going up, and we getting a real good reception this summer. I mean, every single night is knocked out the park, and that was Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday we had Kevin Hart pull up to the Factory, which was an amazing experience. Witnessing Kevin Hart and his element, to me, was pretty eye-opening, because obviously he's a transcendent comedian of this generation, but just to see the way that he walks in and commands a room. Now, obviously he does this, through stand-up comedy, but when you get to see it up close and not just with somebody on stage, how just one person can talk to a room of 100 people and have a smart remark, quick wit for anybody who has something to say. He's quick on his feet, commands attention, rolls with an entire team, photographer, videographer, security. His wife was with him, his entourage, his family, and it's just knowing that one person is pretty much a corporation, and that was also inspiring. So shout out to the Factory 380, the owners, Kevin Hart, his whole team, and shout outs to us, because we on episode 5, and I'm liking this execution we doing, man. So what's up with you, bro? I'm talking way too much.
No, bro, that was perfect. I feel like you summarized a lot of things in like such a short amount of time. Man, I feel like I'm a little behind on the editing myself. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, we gotta execute better. What's going on, man?
But that's the thing, though, man. Like, so I've also been trying to find the pockets of time that are like basically healthy for my mental health. You know what I'm saying? Like, where it's like, all right, these 3 hours before I start my 9-to-5 gig, that's for this. If you don't get it done, like, don't jump off the building, dog. Just like,
please don't jump off the
relax.
building, bro.
So I think those types of things are happening. Last week I went to LA for the first time.
How was that? Talk to me about LA.
It was beautiful. Beautiful to see. It made me realize that I don't want to move or live there, because like, you have to have a car to live there.
What should be for the car? I'm only asking because everybody that knows me knows I'm Uber King. I dislike driving. I don't like to drive. I really feel like it's a waste of time. When's the last time you saw Barack Obama drive a car?
But that's the thing. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You have to be able to either take public transit or basically have someone drive you. And that's my whole thing about being, wealthy. I feel like it pisses people off sometimes. It's like, Rob, stop talking about millions of dollars so much. But you have to have a driver. When you see Floyd Mayweather, he's in the back of his car and he's like texting or something.
Absolutely.
He makes $300 million a month residually, you know? And it's just like this mentality is I need a driver, I need a plane, I need, you know. So anyway,
no, 100%. I mean, you don't see anybody wasting their time on driving. There's little to no return on the investment on that, you know.
You know what I'm saying?
Plus, it's just whack. Who wants to be beeping the horn? Let me over into the lane. I'm not trying to do all that.
But the thing is, I feel like also for me, especially where I'm at right now, I like to go to brunch. So that's another reason why I'm like, I just don't want to have to drive after brunch. So that's like one of the selfish things.
Well, you've definitely spoken a Rolls Royce into existence on at least 3 of the 5 episodes we have. So I know that's coming soon.
Right. I feel like that's so annoying, but
no, it's not annoying. It's inspiring because you know exactly what you want.
Yeah, bro. I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
And so, aside from that, man, the jet lag really was crazy. But I've been more exhausted than I ever have in my life getting back here from LA. And honestly, bro, I have a new addition to my team. You know what I'm saying? Like, the team is expanding. I feel like it's silly when people that are just like starting out have a team. Some people think that it's silly, but it's like you're a part of my team. You're 100%, my like 100%. I consider you like a creative director, my guy in general.
I like that.
And then I got a video editor coming soon.
Nice.
Yeah.
You going
just
crazy.
Joined. You know, Chris is a new part of the team.
Absolutely.
A videographer.
Shout out to Chris.
And so I think I'm just excited about that, and that's the execution part. But I'm even more excited about the fact that we're introducing a guest to this episode today.
This is technically our first guest, man. So
yeah,
this is kind of a big deal.
Yeah, man. So we're gonna have Lee join us.
It's my bro Lee. So Lee. Got the audience going crazy.
Glad to be in New York right now.
What's up, man?
What's up?
How you feeling?
Everything's great.
Definitely, man.
So I've been in the big media city.
For sure, big media city, man. So some background. Lee and I actually grew up together in Chicago, you know. So we attended the same church throughout my childhood, and this is my brother, man. He's always moving and shaking and doing all types of things. So I just wanted him to be around like minds, you know. When he comes to the city, you know, the positive energy is already gravitating toward him. He has one of the strongest mindsets that I know, and I just truly enjoy the conversations that we have, and I just feel like it's appropriate, you know, for us to build together. So who knows where this discussion is going to go, but with this guy, he's going to drop some jewels. It's just going to happen, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
He seems like a wise dude, like off rip. But Lee, like, how's life been for you? What do you have going on right now in terms of execution? Like, how's things going? And
for people who don't know you, give like a general 30-second elevator pitch about who you are before.
Give a brief introduction. So, got my degree in engineering. Worked with a giant oil company in Houston, Texas, and I was happy about it at first because as far as money, it was there. But then I got to a point to where I knew that money wasn't everything. Like, everything is all about your time. So you want to spend your time doing the things that you love to do. And it's like with time, that's when creation happens. With time, that's when you can think. And it's like as far as where I'm at now and where I was at before, I had to crucify my old self. Meaning that the way how I think now isn't the way how I thought a year ago. So with me and understanding and branching out, everything is all about team. Like I said, like you could be the greatest person, you can have the mindset, but you need other people around you because everybody always is gonna have that burnout phase. And just by talking to other people, you expand yourself and new ideas may even pop up. So teamwork is very essential, but it's not just teaming with any and everybody. Where's their mind at? Is it more aligned to what you want to do? Because if their vision isn't where you want it to be, and then, hey, we can have a friendship, but just not on this kind of level. So I think it's very important to ask the right questions so that they can play the right role into whatever you're doing.
That was off the top. That was incredible.
All right, so there we go. There's the episode.
Nothing else to talk about here.
Could you expand? Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, could you expand upon why, that point in which you realized, all right, time is not, or money's not everything. Like, what were you going through when you realized that?
Well, I was seeing the big checks, and also it's like, even though I was seeing the big checks, most of my time was going towards work. So it's like, I'm a guy that naturally likes to connect, likes to travel, likes to see new things, likes to see culture. So if I'm spending too much time at work, that's getting in the way of me doing the things that I really enjoy to do. So I thought to myself, why not just work on creating that life that gives me what I want to do every day instead of working so I can take care of this. So you just get right to the root cause instead of doing what you thought that you had to do the things that you wanted to do. Because a lot of us, we seen our parents go about things in a certain way, or we seen other people and we thought that was just the way of the world, when no, the way of the world is your mind. Like, once you're able to change, you're able to see things from a whole different perspective. And just by being around other people that you see, like, hey, I want my life to be like this, or I like the way you moving, start spending some time with that person. You'll start seeing things that you haven't seen before, or thoughts will start coming up that you never even thought of before. So, like I said, time is king. So whatever you can do to have more of your time, and then you can get to know self, and then you start moving in the right direction. And also, I know earlier you all was talking about time and driving. So currently being in Houston, Texas, to get anywhere, you need a vehicle. And it's like, I didn't mind driving. But as I got older and then I really started valuing my time, I prefer having someone else drive. Even when it comes to going out of town, I used to drive, take a little short trips. Now I take a flight just so I can maximize my time. And also, as soon as I get to the city, I touch down and I can get right to business versus getting to the city, want to take a nap or rest and then get it going. So everything to me is all about optimizing your time and having that best advantage. Because it's crazy, you got to think, if you're in the car driving, something comes to you and you want to write it down, it's not a smart idea to just pull out your phone or pull out a notebook, because it could be a tragedy, accident. So you can comfortably let somebody else drive while you're sitting in the back and you're in your thoughts and you're over there creating and crafting the business master plan.
100%. We'll be in the back of Rob's Rolls Royce putting those ideas down. So what's on the menu for you as far as execution? What's in your immediate plans as far as executing? Because the name of this, I guess we're calling it a podcast now, is Execution Season, and we really want to focus in on holding ourselves accountable to do what we said we were going to do. So what's in your immediate vision of holding yourself accountable to execute?
I'm glad you actually said that question, because I got a group of guys that hold me accountable every single week. And one of the things that was on my list, made a goal, and I said within 6 months, I want to totally walk away from my job. And the way how I'm going about that is working on content, creating, and I'm actually getting into the elements. So as far as being more authentic, and then also just doing the work, because like I said, we could think about it as much as you want, but it isn't until you apply that action. And action doesn't necessarily mean just being on the computer and doing the work. Action can be going to a different city, connecting with other people that's like-minded, and then you all get the creative juices flowing, and then there you go. You got something else. So my execution really is just stating what I'm gonna do it, and complete it. And having people that holding me accountable every week really puts that extra pressure on me. So it's gonna happen.
I believe it. And spoken with true power and diction,
Yeah.
it's gonna happen.
Exactly.
I like that a lot.
That's why I have this, like, the legendary vision, the whole, like, thing, it's 3 principles. Like, write the vision and make it plain. Oh, my bad. Exposure therapy, write the vision and make it plain, and then execute and then review. Like you just said, execute. Like it's just so simple, but hard to do But the thing is, when you have other people that are holding you accountable, it's like you don't want to feel like that guy that's not executing. So you know what I'm saying? It's important.
Yeah, but what you just said was crucial that a lot of people don't do. Therapy. A lot of people have trauma that they haven't dealt with. And I know back in 2020, that was actually my first time doing therapy. And it wasn't real severe, but like, of course, you're gonna have a stigma saying like, oh, why are you going to see a therapist? Like, what's wrong with you? No, a lot of times in life, especially when you're busy and productive, it's like you have a lot of clutter. So it's like with your mind, whenever you go through therapy, you're able to get it out. And with me doing therapy, it cleared my mind a lot, which prevented a lot of distractions. Distractions I used to have in the past, I got rid of that. And awareness increased around me. And once you're aware, that all goes back to your goals, because it's like you got to have a clear mind in order to even know which direction you need to be going in. So therapy was number one. and then after the therapy, I was able to write it down and make it plain. Now I'm going active and execution.
Bro, my therapist changed my entire life. Like it helped me to not emotion dump on my partner. Oh, it helped me to not emotion dump on my partner like every day after work. You know what I'm saying? So now I don't even have to talk to her about work. I can just talk to her about her goals, her life, what she's doing. Honestly, bro, I don't think enough of us do it. Like, not you and not us, but I'm saying like just people. It's just like, yo, prioritize that.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you all touched on therapy. I actually had a conversation with a girl, shout out to Mel, earlier this week, and she was trying to convince me to sign up for therapy. I guess I'm the only one that hasn't even tried it, and not because I don't see the value in it. I do see the value in it, but I may be under the incorrect assumption that somebody of my personality type, I consider myself to be, more emotionally intelligent than, the run-of-the-mill person. Mm-hmm. But with that being said, I know enough to know that I can't really judge something that I haven't taken part in yet. So, I'm going to give me a therapy session sooner than later. You guys just inspire me.
And I always tell people, just try it. If you don't like it, it's not for you. It's always alternative ways besides therapy. And one of the good things about when I was doing my therapy was I seen the acceleration of my mind start increasing. That like after a year of session, I actually left my therapist because I understood how my mind worked and knew how to implement and put certain things into my life so that I could become better.
That's great.
That's real. I guess I'm not there yet. I was like, sometimes it's weekly, sometimes it's bi-weekly, other times it's like monthly. But yeah, she's a person that I'm like, yo, she'll be like, look, what are your goals here? Do this, this, and this. And the next time I talk to her, I have my whole thing planned out. And it's like, damn, she's almost like a business coach too. But anyway.
And I was gonna say, with that, you gotta think of whenever you have a team, a business team, you all lay out certain questions and you all hold each other accountable and everybody's moving aligned because we already know what it is. One of the biggest problems with people that go into business or teams and why they kind of feel eerie about it is because misalignment. The message isn't clear across the board and everything is all about transparency. Like, let me see it. Like, let me communicate this effectively. I want you to repeat it back to me so that the communication doesn't get lost. And when you have that, that's when you build together that unit and there you go.
Powerful. So with you all, the positivity of therapists allowing you all to emotionally express yourself and things of that nature, any particular challenges that you two are running into that's preventing you from executing or, potentially falling short on your dreams in the immediate?
The immediate? Well, I would say with me, when I first started, with anything that's new, your mind is doing this rewiring. So once I was able to learn necessary stuff, I actually had to isolate myself from people. And that isolation was time for me to spend with me so I can get to know myself better. because it's like, if you don't know who you are, how do you know the people that you need to be around, like the people that can benefit you? And it's like, I'm at the point now where my goal is to feed people, and I need other people around me that can feed me too. So everything is supposed to recycle around. And it's like, when I went through my silence phase of being isolated for a while, I spoke to people, but I kind of kept a distance. It wasn't until I put all the work and effort into myself that I was able to get a group that could hold me accountable. And with that, that was the supercharger. But before you get a group, you got to work on yourself first. That's key.
That's a part of why I was like, bruh, I don't know if I told you this, but you and I have been communicating for years about like, yo, how you been, dog? You were one of the only people from Howard that was like, yo, you straight? And we would always just connect so well on our goals, our plans, our visions. And it was like a couple years went by, but I had the idea for Execution Szn like for years, and I was like, let me go ahead and ask him. And then I finally asked you, and then we started doing things. But yeah, just having a group like you mentioned, that's powerful.
I want to ask you this. What do you think took you so long to actually muster up and tell them about the Execution Szn that you already had?
Because I felt like I wasn't I wasn't there yet in terms of like, damn, am I gonna execute? You know what I'm saying? I'm questioning myself, but then I realized like, who gives a damn? You know what I'm saying?
Preach.
It's like there are people that need to hear the message or hear something from us that when the light bulb clicks, and by like not executing, they're missing out on that. So it's just like, I need to do it for me, but also for anybody else that needs to hear the message too. You know what I'm saying?
When you don't execute, you're in that waiting room. You're waiting to see what's going to happen, and if you're waiting, it's feeling stagnant. So that's where the frustration comes in. But in the same sense, if you already know what's happening, like as far as the waiting room, you're going to use it to your advantage. Like as far as strategize, make sure that I want to get this aligned. So you're using that. So once you get out of the waiting room, you can immediately execute.
Exactly.
And it's like what you said about it took you a little time to even tell Brent about that. So I was just in the car, and I remember speaking. It's been 15 years. It's been 15 years since I came to New York.
Wow.
And it wasn't that I didn't want to come back. I just been spending time in other places, but just talking to Brent and connecting, I was like, hey, I know why it's been 15 years since I came back to New York. Because I wasn't ready then. Now I am, and that's why you see me right here in the big media city.
I'm the type of guy who always appreciates all 4 seasons anyway.
Yeah.
A lot of times, I don't really like, weather is the small talk giant, right? Like, oh, it's hot today, it's cold today. Man, it's too hot, it's too cold. It's just like, yo, you have to appreciate each day. When it's cold, that helps you to appreciate the warmness. When it's warm, that helps you appreciate the cold. When it's raining, that gives us food and everything to grow. Everything serves a purpose. I don't put too much emphasis on the weather. So when everybody does all the small talk and all of that, I'm just like, look, appreciate the day. Maybe it's because I'm from Chicago. We get all 4 seasons, and we get, our winters are cold and our summers are hot. So, we get all 4 seasons. So, but yeah, we back at it.
Nah, that's real. By the way,
shout outs to Lee.
Yeah,
shout outs to
Lee.
Robert Woods the third.
Lee, dropping bombs, bro. By the way, this song called Every Season by
Roddy Ricch.
Roddy Ricch. It's in my head like
Absolutely.
crazy.
I played that at the factory this past weekend.
Love that song. So, we wanted to transition into the next piece, which was like what our execution strategy is right now in regard to what we're doing. Lee, you touched on it a little bit. But Brent, did you want to talk a little bit about like where you are right now and what's your execution strategy going forward?
Yeah, so my immediate strategy now has shifted to time management. To get the most out of my days, I'm going to start structuring my days better, because what I found is I'll do a lot of executing and thinking at night, and then that'll lead to these 6 a.m., 7 a.m. nights, and then I'll sleep and it'll wake up, it'll be 2 p.m. and then the cycle continues. Then of course over the weekend, you know, I'm at the clubs and I'm DJing, so my sync is I'm just not on the natural time that everybody else is on. So if I shift and kind of prioritize going to sleep at a certain time, waking up at a certain time, and then utilizing, you know, I'm a big calendar guy. I put everything in my calendar. This is in my calendar, everything you can imagine. So that's not an issue, but it's more so mapping out everything and then mapping out what times I'm gonna send emails, what times I'm gonna do social media posts. I'm trying to grow like 4 different pages right now across platforms. So just scheduling. Scheduling is the most pertinent thing for my execution strategy at this moment.
That's dope. Lee, what about you, man?
Just going out more and being around people that's in the same space as I am, because like I said, once you crucify your old self, it's time for you to create your new world. So in order to create that new world, you need to start being around those people that are doing what you want to do and also tap into it. So actually, this is my first time doing a podcast. I wasn't expecting to do this today, but my good friend Brent asked me to join. And I'm like, why not? Why not do something new? Why not take the risk on myself? And like I said, you just gotta step into it if you want to become it. So that's why I'm at. And as far as when it comes to execution, you can't think about it too much. You really just have to do it. Make it a part of you. Make it a part of your daily life. So that's the best way to execute.
Yeah, man. I think in terms of what I'm trying to do, honestly, working on the media machine, you know, I think, and being more intentional about it. I've always tried to create content, but it's just like, oh shoot, okay, I didn't have enough time to do that, and then I just sometimes something might not come out that week, and I'm like hard on myself about it. But I think focusing on that as a machine and making sure that you can get later.com to make sure that things distribute out perfect, you know, for you. So that's really what I'm trying to be intentional about. In addition to that, man, the whole business acquisition process, just going through it. My one goal this year was just to buy a business, and so that one thing takes precedence over pretty much everything. So like, just trying to be cognizant of that and just focusing, honing in on the skills that are needed in order to do that properly. So yeah.
How is that going, the purchasing of the business?
Man, it's going cool. We got the LOI signed from the sellers last couple weeks ago, and now we got, like, you know, lender after lender, they'll tell you, nah, no, but then we got one lender that was just like, looks good, and I was like, okay, this is what I needed. And then so now that process, once they say go, it's like a hurry up and wait thing. So now we're just in the process of waiting, but when we wait, that's what I've noticed, that my personal instinct is to start making more content. So that's when we get, you know, we'll just do more content, and then more than likely I have some sort of music project come out before I actually close on this business, so that by the time I close, I can basically go through the year where that year I have a project, you know what I'm saying, without not coming out with a project, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so everything is really pulls together and it works along with your favor. Right. So just like I went back and talking about the waiting period, the waiting time, that could be frustration. But what you're doing in your waiting time, you're actually creating content, because it's like some people, if they just focus on that one thing, and then during that, of course, you have to wait. But you got to fill your wait time with something. And whenever you do that, everything just starts going. And that's exactly how you make it happen.
I appreciate the fact that you said that. And I feel like in groups, man, you need a little bit of validation. And I feel like your points, I mean, Brent, you always do the same thing. You're like, no, you good. I'd be like, yes, okay, all right, let's get it.
Just like I want to lead people with this as well, because like I'm the type of person, when I know it's time for me to get work done and start creation, sometimes my body is telling me like, hey, you need to rest or whatever. And it's like whenever I try to go against my body, because my body is a natural creation, it's my system, it's telling me what I need to do. Whenever I try to go against it, that's whenever I try to create and it doesn't work. But whenever I take that time off, it may be 2 days, it may be a week. But as soon as I come back, I have that energy charge and everything becomes crystal clear, and I'm putting out everything at its purest form, because like everything is authentic, it's not by force. So it's like that's a part of the creative process, giving it power instead of forcing it. So you got to be okay with you want it to happen right here and there, and it's not happening. It's a reason why. Figure out and find something to do in that spare time so that you're ready for when that time is set for you to happen.
That's real, man. And you know, just to kind of, if we were to leave the audience with a word, in terms of execution, like what action, if there was one action that you would urge people to, we can go out around the room, but if there was one action that you would urge people to take after listening to this, what would that be?
I'll go first. I would say to pay it forward. You know, I've really gotten joy out of watching my mentee perform this summer. You know, he's been doing an investment banking internship. He's secured an offer. He was at the New York Stock Exchange earlier this week. I got to brag on him real quick because he's been going crazy. He was at the New York Stock Exchange, and he also has an interest in DJing. So I let him DJ for me at the factory on Friday. He rocked it. This is all, you know, within a 1 week period. He's doing this, and, you know, at the age that he's at, I mean, as long as we instill this knowledge in the next generation, the intention for us should be for them to surpass us, because we've lived this life, we've experienced everything, and we need to give them all of the keys, give them all of the codes so they can take it as far as they can go, because at the same time that you're lifting somebody else up, they can come and lift you up. So I would urge everybody to just take somebody under your wing, get somebody that you have a lot of faith in, and just pour into them and guide them through this thing called life, so they don't have to make the same mistake that you made. I mean, Hov is my favorite rapper, and we all know the bar I'm about to stay. You know, Hov did that, so hopefully you don't have to go through that. So go ahead, get you a mentee. That's my rule.
Big thing is know what you want so you can have what you want. And everybody wants to be blessed, but you got to ask yourself, when's the last time you blessed someone else? Once you start blessing others, blessings can't help but to come your way.
Yeah, what I would say is take the time to write it down. You know, that, you know, your mind, of course, we know our mind is a powerful thing. And once you write that thing down, that's like the next step in it just literally becoming true. Of course, after you write it down, I think the repetitive nature of reading it over and over and over and over and over and over and over, and just like never letting it go, that is, to me, it's a sign that you will have that thing, you will do that thing, and you will be that person that does and has those things. So write it down. I did have this one thing, man. I didn't want to let this episode go by without talking about the fact that you know, I think this is I always do this, but like, all right, peace, bro, but what about that next thing? But
that's why we edit.
That's why we edit. Can't let the time go by without talking about that Earn Your Leisure episode with Don Peebles, bro. You know, Don Peebles is one of my idols in the real estate development space, and if we could just talk real quick about anything that we learned or like gained from that interview. What was your take on it overall?
I've always known Don Peebles' name as one of our Black Titans. Yeah. I think one of my main takeaways from him was that he was unashamed in utilizing his political power to push his private agenda, and he was urging us to do the same. And as a person who moves throughout a lot of different circles, you know, you have to be unashamed of what you're able to bring to the table and what somebody else can provide, and how you all can put your powers together to accomplish a mission together. You know, he stated that he wouldn't be anything without his mentorship and his relationship with Marion Berry that got him started in the real estate space, and he was just using these relationships to his advantage. It's one thing to know a lot of people, but it's another thing to utilize these relationships to get where you're trying to go. And Lee touched on it earlier. It's just when you surround yourself with like minds, you all need to put these minds together and put plays together that can lift everybody up. And when you lift everybody up, you lift your own self up. So that was one takeaway. Another takeaway that I had was he seems very mission driven in proving things to himself, and then also providing hope, to the black community as a whole. He said that he was willing to put his entire net worth on the line so that he could build the skyscraper, the first black-owned skyscraper in New York City, and he's willing to risk it all to try it. And he doesn't need to. He was clearly a billionaire. I like that tidbit where he said, Forbes rated him $700 million. That was 10 years ago, So he's definitely a billionaire, but he doesn't need that outside validation. That just proves that everything he's doing is mission driven. He made his money a long time ago. Now it's really about legacy. So that's something that we're striving to get to.
Yeah, one of the things that I love about, and I love the fact that you said legacy, but because his son Donahue is somebody that you meet smart, brilliant people, but that dude is on another level. But he's a normal person too. You know what I'm saying? We talked about Jay-Z stuff before, and just like everything, but legacy.
Wait a second. Here goes Rob slipping in that he's talking to billionaires again. This guy didn't mean to interrupt your wisdom. I just had to point that out.
No, I mean, I just feel like they're laying the groundwork for what's possible. Mm-hmm. One thing that I really took away from him is that I love the fact that he said that. It's just like, I think it was Troy that asked, like, how can we work with you? And he's like, basically, Don answered it kind of like a politician, but he basically said the power is in your hands. You know what I'm saying? Like, you need to be, making these articles. You need to be urging other politicians to do what they can to support black business and getting the funding. So I thought that was incredibly powerful. And that always leads me to the point of, like, I have this concept called the millionaire veteran blueprint, which is basically within 3 to 4 properties, as a military veteran, you can basically use your VA loan to become a millionaire. And the blueprint is just use your VA loan 3 or 4 times, zero money down. Because the thing is, there's no reason for anybody to to not have what we want, I'll say, or after a certain amount of time. After, like, if you're 7, 8 years old, we got you, we give you that. But if you're like 35, 38, still talking about like what other people aren't doing for you, I think that is like a clear sign that you're really not executing. You know what I'm saying? And like, even me personally, like, I went through that stage. It was like, dang, they ain't responding to my email. Bro, they're busy. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Like, they don't necessarily have time for you, but sometimes they may, and that time is valuable. But anyway, take the thing into your own hands, and that was really what it meant. Also, like you said, he's betting the house on one development because of the legacy piece, and I think that's incredibly valuable.
Yeah, so this was an incredible episode. Lee, thanks a lot for joining us. Appreciate your energy, 1,000%, man.
I enjoyed being on here.
This was great.
For sure. Rob, another one in the
Guys,
books. Let's
another
get it.
one.
Appreciate you.
I feel like that one, like,
Execution season.
Execution season. Let's get it.